After my husband's death, I discovered 48M my son's demands were unexpected, but I chose love. The rain tapped against the windows of Sarah's small charming home as if it, too, was grieving the loss of her husband. Just 2 years into being a widow, she was still navigating the stormy seas of sorrow. Her husband, a compassionate veteran, had taught her and their son Josh the values of humility and hard work. Now, amid casseroles left at her doorstep and sympathetic smiles from neighbors during the summer block parties, Sarah felt both comforted and burdened by a life rebuilt around memories. When she found herself sifting through her husband's old military uniforms one rainy afternoon, the emotions washed over her like a tidal wave. Each piece held a story, each wrinkle whispered his name. As she flipped through a dusty box of family photos, laughter echoed softly in her mind, but then her eyes caught something tucked away. A hidden bank statement slipped out, its number striking her like lightning. 48 million. Sarah's heart raced. Her husband had hidden wealth, fearing it would steer them away from their core values. She felt lightheaded, grappling with shock and disbelief. They'd spent years in modest comfort, valuing community and love over material possessions. Could it be true? Was this wealth a blessing or a curse? The thought rattled her core, twisting memories of simpler, happier days into something unrecognizable. Meanwhile, Josh, now 22, had plans of his own. Once a bright kid with dreams of becoming an artist, he was swiftly turning towards a world of luxury cars and designer clothes. When Sarah revealed the truth about the money, nudging his dreams into reality, the reaction was explosive. "Why can't you just let me have a life without these old-fashioned morals?" Josh's voice echoed through the hallways of their home, where laughter had once reigned. Each argument pushed them further apart, leaving Sarah's heart heavy with pain. "Mom, it's our time to live," he pleaded one evening, frustration boiling over. For Josh, the 48 million felt like a golden ticket to freedom, a pathway away from the shadows of their modest lives. To Sarah, it echoed hollowly against the values taught by her husband. The very dreams that had once sewn their bond now dangled like loose threads, threatening to unravel their family. Just when the chasms between them seemed insurmountable, Sarah received a call from the community center, the place her husband had volunteered. They were planning a fundraiser for veterans in need, and they wanted her to lead it. Part of her soul stirred with purpose, a flicker of hope amid despair. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." As the date for the fundraiser drew near, a new urgency ignited within Sarah. This event wasn't merely about raising funds. It embodied her husband's legacy: hard work, service, and love for others. Yet tension crackled in the air with Josh's growing desires, splintering their connection. Sarah knew she stood at a crossroads. Would she guide Josh back to their roots? Or would she allow him to chase a dream wrapped in glitter and greed? The clock ticked down, and with every tick, her heart ached for a resolution, one that could either unite them or tear them apart forever. Would love conquer ambition? Or would the weight of legacy crush them both? As the clouds rolled away, the day of the fundraiser dawned bright and clear. Sarah felt both excitement and dread swirling inside her. Decorating the community center had brought back sweet memories of her husband, who thrived in crowd settings, his laughter ringing like music. But today, as she tied vibrant banners and arranged donation boxes, an uneasy knot twisted in her stomach, binding her to thoughts of Josh. He seemed to evade the preparations, retreating further into a realm of his own desires. She sensed his frustration simmering just beneath the surface. Every time she caught him scrolling through flashy car ads or fashion blogs, her heart sank. They needed to navigate this together, to heal together, but right now it felt like they were worlds apart. With the sun shining down, guests began to trickle in, filling the room with warmth and chatter. Sarah greeted everyone with a soft smile, exchanging hugs with old friends and a few familiar veterans. As the room filled, she took a deep breath, exhaling the exhaustion she carried. "Mom!" Josh burst through the door, his hair tousled and eyes sparkling with something that looked suspiciously like hope mixed with impatience. He wore a sharp new shirt, a stark contrast to the faded jeans he typically donned. You'll never guess what I found. Before Sarah could respond, he whipped out his phone, showing her a sleek sports car. This could be me if we just used some of that money. We wouldn't have to struggle anymore. Panic gripped Sarah. Josh, you know that money isn't just a game. It's part of your dad's legacy, she began. But the words fell flat against his enthusiasm. His legacy can be taken to a new level. Why live in the past? His impatience was a fire igniting their growing rift. Because Josh, it's not only about wealth. It's about giving back and upholding the values he cherished. She insisted, her voice rising amidst the sounds of the gathering crowd. For a moment, silence enveloped them, and the air thickened with unresolved tension. Values? He challenged, storming away from her. What values will feed my dreams? Her heart sank. She could see the misalignment in their dreams, his hopes gleaming like gold, while her thoughts lingered in a realm of compassion and community. Later, after the event concluded successfully, with generous donations and heartfelt speeches, Sarah found Josh alone in the kitchen. Can we talk? She asked gently, her voice laced with weariness and sincerity. He looked up, the anger cooling to a simmer. Talk about what? How you want to throw it all away. I'm tired of being the good son who just follows the rules. It's not about rules, she countered, it's about choices. We have a chance to make a real difference, Josh. To help those who need it. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. I know, but what about me? Don't I deserve to live out my dreams without feeling guilty for it? Tears brimmed in Sarah's eyes, for she could see the conflict within him. A battle none of them could win if they didn't stand together. You do deserve it, Josh. But your dreams matter little without love and purpose behind them. As she searched his eyes for understanding, Sarah realized just how fragile this moment was. An unexpected shift in the air seemed to signal a change, a ripple of connection amid the chaos. Let us find a way to meet in the middle, she proposed softly, reaching for his hand, hoping to patch the frayed strings holding them together. And just as hope flickered on the horizon, the distant buzz of Josh's phone broke the moment. A notification drawing his attention, another luxury ad flashing on the screen. She watched as his gaze shifted, uncertainty creeping back into his eyes. Maybe we'll talk later, he said, avoiding the look of disappointment on her face. What would it take to bridge this gap? Would any gesture, no matter how grand, be enough to bring back the warmth they once shared? With each passing day feeling like more of a battle, Sarah couldn't help but wonder. Where would they go from here? The stakes had never been higher, and clarity seemed more elusive than ever. The kitchen felt like it was closing in on Sarah. The remnants of the fundraiser were still scattered across the countertop, and the clatter of laughter and conversation faded into silence, leaving her with the echo of Josh's retreating footsteps. Her heart ached in a way that was becoming too familiar, like an old wound that refused to heal. She stared at the wall adorned with photos of her husband, moments frozen in time, the smiles, the laughter, the warmth of family. Those memories tugged at her, reminding her why this fundraiser mattered. It wasn't just about the money. It was a tribute to the love they shared, a love that Josh had yet to grasp fully. As she rinsed some glasses, she tried to shake off the lingering despair. Maybe they just needed more time. Or perhaps it was the pressure of the fundraiser that had magnified their discord. But time was not a luxury she felt they had. Mom? Josh's voice broke through her thoughts as he re-entered the room, his face still clouded with frustration. I'm sorry about earlier. Sarah turned to face him, an olive branch in her heart. I understand you're upset. Feel it too. But it's hard for me to watch you chase material things when there's so much more at stake. He clasped his hands together, a sign of him trying to contain himself. It's not just material things, Mom. It's about my future. I want something to call my own, not just a memory. That's the thing, Josh, she said softly. Your dad's memory is not a weight. It's a foundation. You have the chance to build something meaningful with it. His eyes flickered with frustration, and he stepped closer, desperation creeping in. But can't my life start now? Why does everything have to revolve around the past? Sarah felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. Because that past is our foundation, and we can create new memories together. He looked down, his defensiveness crumbling. I don't know how to do that. All I see is what's missing. She stepped forward, reaching up to cup his face, forcing him to meet her gaze. And I feel the void too. But I promise you it's possible to look forward and still hold on to love. Let us figure it out together. For a moment the chaos around them faded. They were simply a mother and son, two souls navigating grief. Josh took a deep breath, his expression softening. Together, he echoed, the word hanging like a thread between them. Before Sarah could respond, the piercing sound of Josh's phone shattered the moment again. Another notification buzzed to life, almost mocking in its timing. She watched his face rearrange as he glanced at the screen, a cocktail of disappointment and envy shadowing his features. Guess I should really be looking into opportunities, he said flatly, clearly torn between what he wanted and what he needed. Opportunities come with no guarantees, Josh, Sarah countered gently. You can have dreams while also carrying your father's love with you. Let us start small. What if we spend the next week exploring what that looks like? Together? He hesitated, the internal conflict playing out in his eyes. Together, or just you trying to lead me to some charity project? Unifying our paths. Finding purpose not just for ourselves but for others too. It can be both. Would this be the beginning of understanding? Or simply another chapter in their ongoing struggle? She could feel the weight of their decisions like the clouds above threatening rain. Josh's gaze drifted, uncertainty swirling once more. I'll think about it. Just think about it, she murmured, knowing the power of that simple act could pivot them onto a new course. As he turned away, Sarah felt a flicker of hope mixed with fear. Every step forward seemed to ignite the possibility of healing, but the sacrifices they each would have to make, was it enough? What would it take for Josh to realize that the love they shared was the greatest opportunity of all? With questions heavy in her heart, Sarah braced herself, preparing to face whatever came next. Would Josh find a way to merge his dreams with a future steeped in love? As the silence of the kitchen enveloped her, Sarah grabbed a dish towel and wiped her hands absently. The clutter of the fundraiser was a stark reminder of the urgency she felt, the fragility of her relationship with Josh clawing at her chest. The lights still twinkled softly, residual joy flickering like hope in the darkness of their conflict. She took a deep breath and thought back to the words they shared. Together it was a promise, but one that felt daunting. The weight of grief wasn't just hers. It was theirs, a chain linking them in sorrow and confusion. She wondered as she placed the last glass into the cupboard, if they could navigate through it and find a new path, one full of love rather than regret. A few moments later, she heard the sound of Josh's footsteps approaching again. He looked less tense though still uncertain. Hey Mom, about that idea you suggested. Exploring things together? Her heart quickened. Yes. I've been thinking, he hesitated, biting his lip. Maybe there's something we can do. Something that helps others while, maybe helping me figure things out too? The hint of a smile crossed Sarah's face. I think that's a beautiful start, Josh. What do you have in mind? He shifted his weight, fiddling with the hem of his shirt. I saw this community garden project down the street. They're looking for volunteers. I thought, well, we could check that out. Maybe it would give us a chance to connect. Her smile widened. That sounds perfect. It's a way to honor your father and also get to know the community. Silence lingered as they each considered the connection they might forge. Joshua finally spoke, quieter this time. And it could help me too. I guess I just miss him. I want to remember the good stuff. The admission felt like a delicate thread stitching their hearts together. So do I, sweetheart. We can foster those memories and grow new ones at the same time. Right? He rubbed the back of his neck, glancing out the window. But what does that even look like? How do we start? A gentle warmth spread through Sarah. We start by taking the first step together. Just like planting a seed. It might seem small, but it can grow into something beautiful. Who knows? Maybe it will inspire you to pursue your own dreams. He nodded slowly, contemplating what she had said. And if I mess up, like we both have before? That's part of learning. What matters is that we keep moving forward. I'll be right beside you. Josh sat quietly again, allowing her words to settle over him. She could see the worry still etched on his face, but his posture shifted slightly. The burden felt lighter. You think it could really be like that? Just better? I hope so, she whispered, embracing that flicker of faith within her. But it's in our hands now. No more holding on to the past. We need to embrace the love we have. He exhaled heavily, And Sarah could sense an opening, a sliver of connection they hadn't shared in a long time. "'Kay," he said finally. "So tomorrow we go check it out?" "Absolutely." Joy bubbled up in her chest. "I'll bring the gardening gloves, and we can get our hands dirty together. Maybe we'll find the courage to dig deeper into ourselves, too." For the first time in days, laughter filled the air again. As they exchanged playful banter about how terrible they both were at gardening, the heaviness lifted. Deep down, Sarah knew this was just the beginning of a journey she couldn't yet foresee, but the glimmer of hope reflected off both their faces made her believe it could be bright. Yet, deep inside, a nagging thought lingered. Would this shared journey truly lead them to healing? Or would unresolved emotions resurface in unexpected ways? The thought cast a shadow that made her pulse quicken as the laughter faded. Sarah felt the weight of unspoken questions creeping back in. Would their foray into the garden nurture not only plants but also the seeds of understanding they both desperately needed? The next morning, dawn broke softly through the curtains, awakening Sarah with a sense of nervous anticipation. She felt the urge to linger in bed, wrapped in the warmth of blankets, but today was different. Today marked the beginning of a fragile new chapter for her and Josh, and she couldn't let fear hold her back. After a quick breakfast, she found Josh in the living room, trying to untangle the knots in his shoelaces. The sight brought a tender smile to her face. "Need some help with that?" she teased lightly. He looked up, a mix of embarrassment and amusement flashing across his face. "Yeah, I'm working on some next-level shoelace management here." He gave a half-hearted grin, the kind that still felt a bit tight but showed he was willing to play along. "Let me show you a trick," she said as she crouched down beside him, their shared laughter bridging the silent uncertainty from the night before. After a few minutes, they were ready to head out. The community garden was just a short walk away, and with each step, Sarah felt her own excitement bubbling over. She hoped it would be more than just shifting dirt. She felt it could sprout the connection they had both been craving. Arriving at the garden, they were greeted by a vibrant scene. Delicate flowers burst with color, and fresh herbs filled the air with a mix of earthy scents. A group of volunteers was scattered about, some digging, others planting, but all seemed to share a powerful purpose. For a moment they stood together, taking it all in. "Wow, it's beautiful," Josh said, his voice almost drowned out by the chatter of volunteers. He seemed captivated. "It really is," Sarah replied, seeing a spark in his eyes. She could sense the moment was pivotal. Their journey wasn't just about gardening. It was about healing. A tall, cheerful woman approached them, her hands caked with soil. "Hello there. Welcome to Green Thumb's community garden. Are you two here to help out?" "Yeah, we are," Josh answered, enthusiasm warming his tone. "We'd like to volunteer." "That's fantastic." The woman beamed. "We're always looking for extra hands. The more the merrier." As they began to dig in, Josh and Sarah kneeled side by side, their hands moving through the cool dirt. It felt therapeutic, like letting go of the weight they had carried for so long. They chatted about what flowers they could plant or how to grow tomatoes, but their conversations naturally slipped into deeper territory, their memories of his father, the little moments they shared as a family. "Remember when Dad tried to teach us to garden?" Josh asked, a hint of a smile creeping back. "He ended up spilling most of the seeds." "Oh yeah, I think we ended up planting weeds in the backyard instead." Sarah laughed, but her laughter faded as sorrow hovered around the edges. "He would love this." Josh nodded, his expression shifting to contemplation. "I wish he could see us now." The mention of his father hung in the air, amplifying the bittersweetness of the moment. As they continued working, a small group of children approached, giggling as they carried small watering cans. "Can we help?" one of them asked, eyes eager and bright. "Of course," Sarah replied, her heart swelling at how the garden drew people together, young and old alike. The kids joined them, splashing water around, giggling and asking questions. Josh found himself laughing more freely now, and each moment spent with them seemed to lift a little more weight from his shoulders. Yet, in the background of their joy was the gnawing thought that this garden might unearth feelings they weren't ready to face. Would they really find the healing they craved? Or would old wounds reopen as they dug deeper into their past? As Sarah glanced at Josh, she knew they were on the verge of something significant. With every seed they planted, the question loomed. Could they nurture not just these flowers but the love between them too? As the afternoon sun warmed their backs, Sarah and Josh found a rhythm that made the work feel lighter, almost carefree. The laughter of the children danced around them like the gentle breeze that brought sweet scents from flowering plants. With each handful of soil they moved, Sarah could see fragments of their past melding with the present. "Look, I think this is a cucumber seed," one of the kids shouted, holding up a tiny brown speck like it was a treasure. "Perfect. That'll give us some juicy snacks later," Josh replied, kneeling down to join in on the excitement. The child beamed, inspiring a rush of warmth in Sarah's heart. It was moments like these, surrounded by laughter and light, that she wished would never end. But beneath the surface, a tempest of unresolved emotions brewed between her and Josh. As they worked, carving out small plots for the new plants, Sarah sensed the heaviness in Josh's silence. He suddenly halted, staring at the patch they were digging. "I can't help but think about Dad now." His voice cracked, the vulnerability hung in the air. There was something in his tone that tugged at Sarah, a mixture of pain and longing that made her want to reach out. "What do you think he would say about all of this?" she asked gently. Josh seemed to search the horizon, as if conjuring his father's spirit for guidance. "He'd say to just enjoy the simple things. To appreciate what we have." Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of his words. She realized that while they were digging into the earth, they were also digging into the rich soil of their collective memories. "He'd want us to be happy, wouldn't he?" she mused, her voice thick with emotion. Josh turned to her, his eyes glistening. "Yeah, he would," he breathed out, a wave of relief washing over him. It felt like an invitation to share their grief openly, without fear. More children gathered around, asking what they were planting, their excited chatter lifting the moment. "Are you both married?" another child piped up, peering curiously at them. "Oh, Sarah stumbled, caught off guard. "We're just good friends right now." The children nodded seriously, though Sarah could feel Josh's gaze become intense, a piercing look that made her heart race. What did that look mean? And why did she feel the pull of something more in that fleeting moment? They continued working, planting seeds carefully, but with every silent gap between discussions, she felt the unspoken words lingering. She wondered if Josh felt it too, their connection deepening alongside the roots they were planting. As the children chased one another nearby, Josh leaned closer, hesitating only a second. "Can I ask you something?" His voice dropped to a whisper, adding an urgency to the atmosphere. "Of course," Sarah replied, her heart racing. What if we tried to figure this out together?" His eyes bore into hers, filled with a question that rippled through her. It was more than friendship he was asking for. There was a glimmer of hope for something real, something lasting. "But what if we're not ready?" Sarah countered, her voice trembling with uncertainty. "Isn't that what this garden is all about? Growing, nurturing? We can't do it alone." His words resonated deeper than she'd expected. Would they really take that chance, to cultivate not only flowers but also the fragile threads of their own hearts? Would they dare to transform fear into hope, soil into bloom? The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting shadows on their little patch of earth, as everything hung on that one pivotal moment, leaving Sarah wondering. Were they truly ready to begin anew? Or would fear dig in deeper? She gazed at Josh, the connection sparking between them, her heart pounding like a drum. What would they decide when the weight of the past pressed in so hard? Josh shifted his weight, the tension between them palpable. He searched Sarah's face, as if trying to decipher a complex equation. "Look, I know things haven't been easy for us since," he trailed off, fresh emotions rising at the thought of his father. She reached out, brushing her fingers against the back of his hand. "We miss him." "It's okay to feel that way," she encouraged. The small gesture caused a spark, igniting a warmth that unfurled within her. His eyes flicked to the children laughing in the background. "They remind me of how carefree life used to feel, before everything got complicated." Sarah nodded, her heart heavy yet hopeful. "Yeah, I remember those days too. We were so young, dreaming big." Josh sighed, his breath catching in his throat. "But maybe those dreams aren't lost. Maybe they just need a fresh start." He swiped a hand across his brow, clearing away the dust of uncertainty. "I want us to focus on building something real, whatever that may look like." The words hung between them, fragile yet potent. Sarah wanted to lean in, to open her heart fully, but the fear of what could lie ahead still loomed. "And what if we mess things up, Josh? What if we end up hurting each other more?" His expression softened dramatically. But what if we don't? What if we find our way? You mean a lot to me, Sarah. More than I ever thought possible. The earnestness in his voice struck her like lightning, sending a jolt through her spirit. The quiet moment passed one that felt charged with weighty possibilities. She could see their future like a blurry painting waiting to become clear. A chance at blossoming, nurtured by their shared pain. You really think we could? Absolutely, he replied, a spark of conviction lighting up his eyes. I do believe we can grow together. If we sow the right seeds. As he spoke, the first rays of evening sunlight streaked through the clouds, painting the garden with a warm glow. It felt like a sign, a gentle push toward courage. But still, a flicker of doubt flickered in the back of her mind. They had a long journey ahead, and the past had left scars that reminded her to tread carefully. Just then, one of the children tugged at her sleeve, breaking the moment. Miss Sarah, can I help plant the seeds too? She smiled, her heart swelling with affection. Of course. Come here. As they integrated the children into their little endeavor, Sarah found herself wanting to take a leap. But what did that leap mean? Could they truly navigate the intricate landscape of their feelings, or would the weight of past heartaches pull them back? Josh watched, a smile creeping across his lips as Sarah embraced the moment with the child. What do you say we finish planting this patch together? He asked softly. Together, she echoed, as if sealing a promise. The sun dipped below the horizon, leaving a deep orange hue that mixed with the night's approaching indigo. A sense of hope began to entwine with the evening air, yet uncertainties lingered like shadows as they sowed the last seeds. Sarah's heart raced. They had decided to try, but would their past allow them to truly grow? Just then, one of the children waved eagerly, shouting, "Look! A butterfly!" It flitted nearby, drawing their attention. As it danced around them, Sarah's heart fluttered too. Would they have the strength to follow that butterfly into the unknown, despite their fears? Suddenly, Josh turned to her, a glint of determination in his eyes. How about we agree to take this step no matter how shaky it feels? His words hung like fragile blossoms waiting to be nurtured. Sarah nodded slowly, yet the weight in her chest remained. The journey ahead awaited. But what would it demand from them beyond the garden? The sun set slowly, casting shadows across the garden as the children ran after the butterfly, their laughter echoing in the quiet evening. Sarah felt a flutter of hope, mingled with apprehension. This moment was sweet. She savored the laughter, the innocence, and the warmth of Josh's hand brushing against hers as they planted together. But deep within, doubt bubbled up. What if this was just a moment like the brief flight of the butterfly? What if they couldn't truly hold on to each other? Her heart sang a question more than once. Could they take a step forward but keep from falling back? Do you think we'll be okay? She whispered, almost afraid that saying it aloud would shatter this fragile peace. The night air was cooling, and the sounds of the children were starting to fade as they grew tired. Josh paused, his hands stilling among the freshly turned earth. He turned to her, eyes piercing through to her heart. I want to be okay. With you. His sincerity struck her like the first drops of rain in a parched desert. But tell me how, she prompted, her voice tight that he took a deep breath as if rallying his thoughts. We start by being honest about our fears. We talk about our past. Well, the parts that still haunt us at least. We build trust back one word at a time. I want everything between us to be real. Every scar has a story, Josh. I don't know if I can share them all, she replied, her voice barely a whisper. I don't expect you to. I just want you to know I'm here. Whatever that means, he said softly, brushing his thumb across her knuckles, reassuring and steady. There was a vulnerability in his gaze that tugged at her heart. The seeds they had planted together were more than just physical. They were emblematic of hope, growth, future. With him there lay a chance to cultivate healing. Still, unease lingered. What if they tried and failed? What if the burden of loss overwhelmed them both? But what if we dig too deep and unearth things we aren't ready to face? She asked. He shrugged slightly, the gesture both light and heavy at once. Then we face them together. We learn. We do better. His belief in their potential made her heart thump louder. Maybe, just maybe, they could handle this. But a nagging doubt crept back, lurking like a shadow. Just then, one of the children approached, a streak of dirt on his cheek and a lopsided smile that made Sarah's heart soften. Miss Sarah, can we have a big party to celebrate the seeds we planted? Like a picnic with cake? She laughed, the simplicity of the suggestion breaking through her swirling thoughts. That sounds wonderful. A garden party it is. The idea of celebration reminded her of how life continued despite the storms of adversity. The children's innocence brought clarity as if they were pushing her to look beyond the fear and see the joy in rebuilding. Let us make it happen, okay? Josh suggested, his excitement palpable. Yeah, a fresh start, Sarah echoed, her heart lightening. As the children's energy returned, fueling their plans, Sarah felt a rush of reassurance. Here was a flicker of a new beginning. But that glimmer also brought forth a question that demanded an answer. Could they really create a celebration in a garden built on both past pain and hope? As they prepared for the imagined picnic, another flicker entered Sarah's mind, an uneasy thought that perhaps the celebration would force them to confront parts of their journey they were not ready for. Would facing those skeletons in the garden help them grow? Or would it tear them apart? With the laughter of children around them and the promise of change hanging in the air, she couldn't help but wonder what secrets their night would unveil. A new dawn approached. But was she prepared for the truths it might bring? The preparations for the garden party took on a life of their own. Laughter bubbled through the air as children scrambled around, gathering colorful blankets, mismatched plates, and bits of ribbon they found in the corners of the shed. The evening transformed into a scene of joyous chaos, as glittering lights began to twinkle overhead like stars peppering the dusk. Sarah stepped back for a moment, absorbing the scene. She watched as Josh knelt beside the little ones, playfully pretending to eat a dandelion. Their giggles filled her heart with warmth. But beneath the surface of her smile lurked a tension and unspoken anxiety about what lay ahead that day. Are you okay? Josh's voice broke through her reverie, pulling her back to the present. His concern wrapped around her like a comforting embrace. Yeah, just thinking, she replied, forcing a lighter tone. A party seems like a perfect distraction, but it doesn't change anything, does it? He studied her for a moment, tilting his head slightly. It changes everything because it's a celebration of new beginnings, he said gently. It's not about forgetting the past. It's about honoring it while creating something beautiful. She bit her lip, touched by his words. It was true. Moments like this deserved to be celebrated. But what she didn't expect was how they'd have to navigate deeper feelings along the way. The idea of joy felt like a tightrope walk, and she could feel her footing slip. As the final sunlight faded, the atmosphere shifted. Shadows deepened around the garden, and candles flickered to life, casting a soft glow. It was a perfect setting. Yet Sarah's heart raced in a different tempo beneath the charm. What if their pasts overshadowed the party? When the food was laid out, laughter erupted again as children grabbed bits of bread and cheese, finding delight in their simplicity. Yet Sarah felt a knot form in her stomach. As they mingled, she found herself reflecting on her past, a past filled with emptiness and unease. How had she made it this far? Want some juice? Josh's voice brought her back. His expression was carefree, genuine. But Sarah sensed he was looking for a deeper connection. Let us toast to us, whatever this is. She chuckled softly, picking up a small cup. Que to us. And to new beginnings. The children echoed her, raising mismatched cups. In that moment, everything felt vibrant and alive. But right beneath that joy was a lingering worry. Could they truly bridge that gap between past wounds and future hopes? Bit by bit, the party unfolded. As they played games, shared stories, and exchanged jokes, Sarah caught glimpses of happiness she thought long lost. Yet a nagging thought remained: would dancing through this night force them to confront the unhealed scars hidden in their hearts? As the stars twinkled overhead, Sarah realized they had entered uncharted territory. The celebration had brought them together, but in doing so, it pulled at the seams of their past. Can we talk? Josh suddenly asked, his voice quiet, cutting through the festival. The jovial noises around them softened, and Sarah felt the weight of the moment sink in. The light-hearted bubbles of laughter were replaced by a lingering silence that made her pulse quicken. About what? She asked, a mix of trepidation and anticipation brewing inside her. About us. About everything, the things we might be ready to face, he said, his eyes searching hers. Caught in between the laughter of children and the serious tone in Josh's voice, Sarah felt a tidal wave of uncertainty rush over her. It was a pivotal moment, hovering in the air, like fireflies circling the darkness. Could they really open Pandora's box at a garden party filled with innocent joy? Her heart raced. Should they delve into the raw emotions that night, or postpone the heavy lifting for another day? In that critical instance, she realized that whatever came next could change everything. Would they seize the moment, or would fear hold them back? The night air was filled with an intoxicating mix of laughter and the sweet scent of blooming flowers. Yet as Sarah and Josh faced one another, a tension crackled between them like an electric current. Each flickering candle lit their features, casting shadows that mirrored the uncertainty in their hearts. "Let us talk now," Sarah said, her voice firm yet vulnerable. "I don't want to wait." Josh nodded, his expression softening. "Okay, but can we do it somewhere quiet?" The weight of the party, a celebration brimming with joy, yet tugging at heartstrings with nostalgia, faded behind them as they stepped into a small garden nook, the laughter of children muffled in the distance. "Look," Josh began, his voice steady but laced with emotion. "This past year has been so hard. I think about Dad every day, and it feels like I'm holding on to him while trying to escape the weight of it all. I don't want to feel guilty for wanting something different." "I understand, sweetheart." "I do," Sarah replied softly, her heart aching with empathy. "But there's not a single day when I don't think about your dad's dreams, his values, the love he planted in us. They're part of you." Tears glimmered in Josh's eyes, a raw mix of grief and frustration swirling within. "But Mom, what if I still want to chase my dreams? What if I can't find a way to merge them with Dad's legacy?" Silence enveloped them momentarily, an organic exchange of feelings. Sarah took a deep breath, summoning the emotions that had tangled in her heart for so long. "You don't have to choose between them. Your dreams can flourish alongside his memory. It's okay to grow in your own direction, but you have to acknowledge the foundation he gave us." "But how?" he whispered, the vulnerability palpable in his voice. "That's what this garden is about, isn't it? With every seed we plant, we give life to new beginnings. Every flower that blooms reminds us of the love that still exists, even among the pain," she urged, noticing the flicker of hope in his expression. Josh wiped a tear from his cheek. "So you mean it's possible for me to embrace what he left while still carving out my own path?" A smile stretched across Sarah's face, light radiating with every heartbeat. "Absolutely. Let us plant new seeds of connection, Josh. Let us do it together." He looked at her, a sense of realization dawning in his eyes. "Together," he echoed, slowly unfolding her hand in his. The warmth of that gesture ignited a spark of understanding between them, roots of their shared grief intertwining with the possibility of growth. They stood there, fingers entwined, allowing silent promises to weave through the shadows surrounding them. "Okay, let us plant some dreams then," Josh said, a newfound determination flickering within. "Yes. Let us honor your father's legacy while chasing your dreams," Sarah responded, an encouraging light filling her voice. "We can do this." Suddenly, the sounds of the party returned, calling them back to laughter and joy, but now it felt like a chorus affirming their shared commitment. As they walked back to where the colors of the night unfolded with joy, Josh turned to her, his eyes shimmering with clarity. "Mom, I want to try something new. This garden project can help me find my footing, like a real home for my ideas. Can we keep building something together?" Sarah's heart swelled with pride as she squeezed his hand. "Of course. We'll grow and nurture this garden, fulfilling not just Dad's dreams but yours too. This is our time to create something beautiful." As they rejoined the festivities, enveloped by laughter and warmth, it felt as if the garden was blooming around them in real time, both a garden of flowers and a garden of hope. A child tugged at her arm, excitement bubbling as he asked, "Are we having a garden party next week?" Sarah glanced at Josh, and the answer shone in their smiles. "Yes, we'll make it a tradition," Josh said boldly, his confidence apparent. "A celebration. For him. For us. And for everyone else in the garden." As laughter erupted anew, Sarah marveled at how they had transformed that moment of hesitation into a foundation for growth. In the midst of their journey, an unshakable truth was planted. They could move forward, carrying their love for him and each other with them. This was just the beginning, with the stars shimmering above them and the petals of the flowers rustling in the gentle breeze. Sarah felt a lifelong bond reestablished, a promise of love and healing they would nurture together. Could they have their cake and eat it too? Yes, they could. A celebration of past memories mingling with a hopeful future awaited them, and together they'd cultivate a life that honored the beauty of both. Now was their moment. A future etched in sunlight awaited beyond the shadows of doubt. If you're feeling inspired by this story, you need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive tales like this one. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending, and remember, don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who truly need to see this transformation. Together, let us grow this community, just like Sarah and Josh grew their garden.